Hey guys, so I have been wanting to do this video for a while, and I basically have come up with all kinds of excuses not to, and then I was like, you know what, no, let's just do this. I want to do a financial video for you guys. I feel like everyone anywhere can benefit from financial advice from other people. You learn different things. I feel like to hear different things and figure out, you know what I'm doing works, or you know what, that might work. Just a little background information. My husband and I are a military family. My husband is in the Navy. He is the only person that works outside of the home. We have no credit card debt at this point. We have in the past. We do not have any credit card debt currently. We don't plan on using credit cards ever again. We're just, no more, none of that. We do have a car loan. And so, yeah, that's kind of 2 children. We rent. We do not own a home because we're military and we move every 3 years. So, you're just going to have to ignore that. My son's over there playing. So, let's go. Let's do this. So the first thing that I want to advise you guys to do, and the first thing I want to talk about, is a budget. You've got to plan out where your money is going to go. It baffles me how often I hear people say like, oh yeah, we don't have a budget, or yeah, we should probably sit down and work out a budget. Especially young military wives who don't work outside the home. They're living on the income of their husbands. I can't understand it. And then whenever it's like in the same breath, I hear them say, oh yeah, and we have this credit card that we haven't paid off yet, and oh, I wish we could go on vacation, or yeah, we spend way too much money at the grocery store. We spend way too much money going out to eat. I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, why the heck, if you know all that, why the heck haven't you sat down and made a budget? I don't understand it. What also drives me crazy when I have other wives, other husbands, friends, whatever, come up to me or ask me on Facebook or Instagram, how do you afford to go on vacation? How can you afford that handbag? How can you afford for your kids to have iPads? Well, we budget and we plan for things, and we don't spend money unnecessarily unless we have it and we're able to spend it unnecessarily and we want to spend it unnecessarily. Also, we have no credit card debt. So if you have credit card debt, you know, you're going to have a period of time where you're not going to be able to do those things, and you're not going to be able to go shopping and do all this stuff. But if you really work it out, it's just a short period of time. You get those credit cards paid off and it's done and over with. What I want to talk about is excuses. Don't make excuses, right? Don't make excuses as for why you don't have a budget or why you have a credit card debt. I've heard people say like, oh, well, this came up and we had this, so that's why we have $8,000 on a credit card right now. And in my mind, I'm like, okay, so why are you going out to eat? Why are you spending money on ridiculous things? You don't need to go yard selling. You don't need to go to Target. You don't need to go do that if you have a credit card to pay off. And I feel like a lot of people make excuses and say like, oh, well, we couldn't avoid having this thing come up and we had to pay $4,000 for it, and that's that. Like, okay, well, when was that? Oh, a year and a half ago. Okay, why is it still $4,000? Why haven't you paid that off in almost 2 years? Because you're spending money on things you don't need to spend money on. And I'm not saying you could have paid that off in 2 years. You could have paid $1,000 of it off though. You probably over the course of 2 years have spent $1,000 on stuff you didn't need, and probably stuff that you really didn't even want that bad, but maybe you wanted it because somebody else had it, or you were in the store and like you kind of wanted it for a second, and so you picked it up and then you got home and 2 weeks later, who cares, right? You know? Okay, so the next thing, pay off debt, which kind of we've already talked about, but along with, if you've heard of Dave Ramsey, along with sort of his principles, and there are some other people that kind of live off similar principles, but he's the biggest one that I can think of, and he's the one if you guys want to research, you're going to be able to find information about him the easiest. Switch to cash. It is the easiest thing to do. You can make excuses, again, all you want on why cash isn't easy, but it's easy. I will say it's more difficult to pump your gas with cash because you have to go inside and hand them cash. But if you are in debt, you've got to do it. We use our debit card now for gas, but when we were in debt, when we were paying off our credit cards, we swapped to cash, and I would get out, pay for the gas in cash, get back to my car and fill it up. And when the kids were with me, They just had to be with me. I just had to pull them out with me. Switch to cash for your groceries. This is the other thing too, is people go into the grocery store like willy-nilly, no list, like wandering around. They just go down each aisle and pick stuff. If you do that, yeah, you're gonna overspend. You need to, if you're shopping for a week, you need to write down 7 dinners, 3 ideas for lunch, because you can do lunch, like, you know, repeat lunches, and, you know, 2 breakfast ideas. Write it down, get everything you need to make those meals that you have written down. Do not get any other things. Yes, you're gonna get 1 or 2 other things probably, because I do with my kids in the grocery store with me. But you have a list. Go in with a list, with a plan. Shop for those meals on that list. I can't believe the amount of people that go into a grocery store with no list. I'm just like, just gonna shop, just gonna pick out whatever I feel like. And then they get to the register and it's like $300 that they've spent on stuff, or $200 or $100 that they spent on stuff that doesn't make meals. So that's the other thing too, when you're switching to cash, is you have to plan. Just like you have to budget your money, you have to budget your groceries. You have to budget your food and entertainment. So you have to switch to cash for those things. And I've showed you guys my cash envelope system, sort of. If you want to see that, I'll link it below. I'm not going to waste a bunch of time and go through and show you envelopes and all that. There are millions of videos you can watch on how to organize a cash envelope system, including my own. So switch to cash. Sit down, write down what you get paid. Write down all of your bills that are mandatory every month. Phone, electricity, cable if you have it, internet if you have it, you know, any monthly, anything that comes out, write it down. And then you need to write down your debt, and you need to write down what your minimum payment is on that debt. So you write all your minimum payments down if you have more than one, and then you subtract all of that from what you make every paycheck, or every month if you want to do it monthly. I do it bi-weekly. I budget bi-weekly because that's what works out for me. So I essentially have 2 of these of what I'm talking about whenever I budget. Whatever is left over, when you subtract your bills from your amount that you make and include it in that monthly amount, you need to include gas and groceries because those are necessities. You subtract all of that. Whatever is left, that is what you have to roll over into, savings also. I include savings in that because savings to me is mandatory. But after all of that, what you have left, if you have credit card debt, that is what you should be rolling into your credit card debt, because anything else isn't a necessity. So that amount, if you don't have credit card debt, that amount can go to food and entertainment, it can go to clothing and appearance, it can go to whatever envelopes you have, whatever sink funds you have. And it's all a sink fund is like saving before something happens. So if you're like, you know what, we got a lot of stuff that goes wrong with our car. We don't have this issue, but if you're somebody who you have an older car and you know things are going to go wrong, start popping $10 a paycheck into an envelope. That's car maintenance. So that's what you want to do when you're switching to cash. You know, just separate your cash out to whatever category you got to separate it out to. My husband and I also have a sort of a category that's like his money, my money. So like you could call it spending money, blow money, fun money, whatever you want to call it, but that's money that is just for us. It's not family money. It's just, okay, you have this much, I have this much, and we don't ask each other. You spend whatever you want out of that amount, and that's yours, and you hand it to them in cash, and you hold yours onto yours in cash. Anyways, I'm rambling on the cash subject, so switch to cash, guys. Number 3, this is 4. Number 4, forgive yourself, guys. Forgive yourself when you slip up. I'm going to tell you right now. You're going to make a budget if you have never made a budget before. You're going to switch to cash, and if you have never switched to cash before, if you have never cut up your credit cards and said, that's it, I'm not using credit cards anymore, it's going to be hard. You're going to mess up. It's going to take 3 or 4 months, maybe even 5 or 6 months before you get it going to where it is perfect. There are still months, I've been doing this for 2 years now, there are still months that I slip up and I'm like, crap, like, you know, I went over there or I messed up here. So remember that. Forgive yourself. And when I say forgive yourself, I don't mean go, oh, well, it's February 15th and I screwed up. Gonna have to wait until next month. No, no, no. You forgive yourself, next day is a new day. Start over. Get back with that intensity the next day. Also reward yourself. Find ways and things and stuff to do to reward yourself for saving your money. This could be collecting all your coins. I've showed you guys before, we collect all of our coins, and once it gets filled up, we reward ourselves with something fun. If you don't have credit card debt and you're putting money aside for a vacation, that's your reward. Reward yourself with that awesome vacation. You know, reward yourself with when you go out to get groceries. If the week before you stayed under your grocery budget, treat yourself to a coffee out of your budgeted money. The next time you go grocery shopping, as a reward for staying under the last time that you went. The little things like that. Reward yourself. It's important. The next thing I want to talk about is easy areas to overspend. We've already talked about groceries. It's the easiest place to overspend is groceries. So easy to overspend. Like I said, go in with a list, go in with a plan. Don't just go in and pick out a bazillion snacks. I know it's tempting. I have 2 little boys that could eat me out of house and home. I mean, they could eat snacks all day long. Every day, if I buy it, they're gonna eat it. So it's hard to go in there, especially when they're with me, and not let them pick out a bazillion snacks. So just don't do it. Plan it out. And this kind of goes into, you're gonna have to plan out your day. You're gonna have to plan it out and say, okay, we're gonna have lunch, then we're gonna have a snack. You know, that's how it's gonna work. Or we're gonna have breakfast, and we're gonna have a small snack, and we're gonna have lunch, and we're gonna have another snack, and then we're gonna have dinner, and that's gonna be it. Kitchen closed. You're gonna have to do that. You have to. If you're trying to stay under budget. If you really want it, you're gonna have to do that. So that's an easy way to overspend. If you're also, another thing, if you're truly trying to save money or pay off debt or put money aside for something, you're gonna have to switch what you like to cook in the kitchen. So I love to cook. I have friends that also love to cook. I have a husband who could eat steak every night with a baked potato and scallops. He loves it. But when we are in savings mode, when we have, like, we tend to save for a vacation like all the time. We're always putting money aside in our vacation account. But when it's like 2 months away from a planned vacation, we get a little crazy, and I'm like, nope, we're having hamburger helper and mac and cheese. Let's do this thing. We're having rice and beans. Let's do this thing. So if you're somebody that likes to cook, you know, you're gonna have to decide that you don't need to cook a gourmet meal every single evening. Okay, so that's a good thing to remember. You don't need to cook a gourmet meal every single night. You don't need to get a bazillion different options for lunches. Keep it simple. Okay, another easy area to overspend is food and entertainment. Stop going out to eat. Stop going to McDonald's. If you really are trying to save money, stop leaving the house and going to McDonald's. Don't leave the house and go out to eat. When somebody invites you to eat, just very politely turn them down. You don't have to say, oh no, we don't want to spend the money, because I know that's a little bit uncomfortable for some people. You just politely say no. It's not a big deal. And I don't know, I just feel like sometimes people get so upset and they're like, oh, we need to save money. I don't know where our money's going. I bet you if they sat down and looked at their bank statement over the past month, they probably spent $500 on going out to eat. And that's $500. If you had $500 at the end of the month, like, what would you do with it? I know what I would do with it. Now, that's not to say we don't like going out to eat. We love to go out to eat. But when you have debt, when you are saving, when you have a plan in mind and you're like, you know what? I want $1,000 saved up by the end of the next 3 months. You gotta make it happen. Don't complain that you don't have money, or that you need to pay this bill off, or you know that, oh, I don't understand, I want that handbag. Don't be complaining that you want a handbag, or that you want to go on a vacation, or that you want $500 in savings if you're spending money going out to eat. Again, I'm speaking from if you have debt and if you're trying to save for something. If it's like just a normal month and you got no debt, you got savings, do whatever you want with that extra money. You know, that's just that. I mean, I know for us, the month of February, we have a lot of money set aside for food and entertainment in our budget, because my husband's coming home and I know we're gonna go out to eat and we're gonna go to see movies and all that stuff. So plan for it. Don't overspend what you've planned to spend. There's that. Skip the excuse making. Like I said, I wrote that down again. I don't know why. Okay, this is a big one. Don't let the habits of others affect you and your plans. Ignore the naysayers. Just don't worry about them. You're gonna have people that you're gonna get around and they're gonna spend money like in a way that you think is ridiculous, or you're gonna meet somebody that you know has debt and they do things totally different from what your plan is. don't deviate from your plan. If you have to avoid them, or if you have to just tell yourself, you know what, I need to not see this person every day because I don't want to spend money the way they do. I don't want to make excuses the way this person does. So don't hang out with them. Also, another thing, don't get near a person and, you know, maybe they go to Target every day. You want to go with them, that's fine. Don't get in there and spend money if you don't want to spend money. I know for me, I just have to not go because it's hard for me to go and hang out with friends and go to a store if I'm trying to save money. So I just don't go. If I don't have the money to spend, I try not to go. So yes, ignore people who are negative. Don't let other people's habits become yours. This is the biggest thing. I see it all the time. People do it all the time. Somebody gets something and they feel like, oh, I need to get that now. Like, I need that now. Don't do that. It's a terrible downward spiral. Just don't do it. So that's that topic. I have two more things. Create small goals and long-term goals. Just like with losing weight, or, you know, I can't think of another one right now, but losing weight is a good one. Create small goals for yourself, because if you only create large goals, it's gonna seem like it's taking you forever to get there. I think that this is kind of the sort of theory and thought process behind, if you've heard of Dave Ramsey's debt snowball. I think this is kind of the idea behind it, is that you pay off the little cards first and you pick up momentum and you kind of feel great, versus being like, oh my God, I'm gonna pay off this, you know, $14,000 car debt first. Oh my God, it's gonna take me forever. So, you know, instead of saying like, okay, well, you know, in 5 years from now, I'd like to have $20,000, you know, set aside, and I'd like to have, you know, don't create goals like that. Or don't say like, at the end of this 3 years, I want to have all, I don't know what, some people have crazy amounts of debt. So let's say you have a car loan and a bunch of credit cards and medical bills and school loans. So don't say like, oh, in 2 years, I want to have $80,000 paid off. Don't just go by that goal. You know, create yearly goals at the beginning of the year, and then also create month-to-month goals. It's super important to do that, because then at the end of that month, you feel so accomplished and you're ready to tackle the next month. And before you know it, you're at the end of the year, and you've you know, those little goals have helped you pave the way and get you set up for your, not only to complete your 1 year goal, but then to complete maybe your 2 or 3 year goal as well. So that's that. Okay, so my last thing is on the topic of getting an emergency fund. Now, I personally believe that right along with your budgeting, when you're trying to pay off debt, right along with your budgeting, I think it's so important to get an emergency fund. Now, Dave Ramsey suggests $1,000. We did it a little bit differently. We wanted more than that. I've kind of gone into explaining that in that envelope video I talked about earlier. But whatever your goal is, whatever amount you want, let's say you're like, you know what, I think I can only do $1,000. I don't think we can get a bunch more than that right now. So get $1,000, whether it be in cash in a drawer in your nightstand, or whether it be in your savings account or your checking account, get $1,000. A couple ways to do that is to budget. It's funny how when you budget, it kind of feels like, whoa, you kind of made money. Like, you know, now I see where my money's going. You know, now we can plan for it and it won't go out the window and we won't know what it is. So do your budget and plan for getting that $1,000. You can babysit if you're a stay-at-home mom. I know a lot of people are like, oh, get a job. Sometimes it's not that easy for us stay-at-home moms, and that's understandable. You can't just leave and go get a job because you gotta have daycare, and you can't get a job in your area that pays for the daycare. I get it. However, if you have family around that watches your kids often, utilize it, because I would. And if you have kids that are in school, definitely utilize it. If your kids are in school all day, you can find a job that's during school hours if you really want to. If you just can't get $1,000 together, if you're really that down and out and you're like, we are in the negative. Now, when you budget, if you find like, whoa, we are in the negative after we subtract all those needs from our you know, I know, from your paycheck. If you're in the negative, you need to figure it out. You need to go get a job. But other things that you can do is you can babysit for friends, babysit for kids in your area. You can purge. I mean, go through your house. If you have to, get rid of everything. If it's not bolted to the wall and you got to get rid of it, get rid of it. If you're not using it, get rid of it. I know there are people, like crazy stories on Facebook or on YouTube of people like selling down to their couch. We didn't get that crazy, but there, I mean, if you want it that bad, shoot, you gotta do what you gotta do. But you can purge stuff, and I have purged things like recently, and it doesn't feel like anything's left my house. Go through your closet, go through your kids' closet, go through your husband's closet, go through your handbags, go through your kitchen appliances, go through your dishes. You'd be surprised how many people are willing to purchase dishes off of Facebook groups and eBay and stuff like that. Just things that you're not using. You know, if you have 23 plates, probably you could scale it down and just have 10. You know, just stuff like that. I mean, I have a bazillion plates, so I'm one to talk. But I'm not in debt right now trying to like are struggling month to month. So, but anyways, so get rid of stuff. If you're crafty, craft items and sell them on Etsy, sell them on eBay. Go on Fiverr. If you are tech savvy, or you know how to edit photos or videos, or there's all kinds of stuff on there. Go to Fiverr.com. It's Fiverr.com. It's basically, you can offer services for $5, whatever you're good at, whatever it may be. I think the last time I got on there was like something weird about like a woman would tell you your fortune for $5. I mean, it's ridiculous. Some of the stuff on there is absolutely crazy. It gets boring when you're sitting in your house all day. Go outside for a walk. Go to the park. Go in your backyard and play. Go walk somewhere. Don't leave the house just for the sake of leaving the house, because then you know what happens? You spend money on stupid stuff that you don't need. Because I do it too. So don't leave the house. If you're a stay-at-home mom, your job is to stay at home. Clean your house. Go through and come up with a way, you know, come up with tasks for yourself. That's what I do. I keep myself busy throughout the day. And I'm not saying that I don't go out and shop or ever or anything like that, but on a normal week to week, I mean, probably 80% of the time, I am worried about my home, worried about my workout, worried about doing learning time with my youngest. I mean, we try to stay home. If you're a stay-at-home mom, your job is to stay home. Like, that's you know, you come across people that don't have a budget, complain about not having enough money for stuff, their house is a wreck, they're super disorganized, they're always looking like hell in a handbasket. Don't be that person, guys. Don't do it. Don't be that person. Organize your life. Organize your finances. Organize your home. Organize your health and well-being, and you know, your kids' schedules. Organize it. You'll be so much happier. Trust me. Because I'm always happier when I stick to a schedule and when I'm getting things done. So that is that. Also, this is for dudes, gals, guys, women, everyone. If you have a spouse or a significant other that you share a home and a budget with, okay? If you bill pay together, if you work together as a team with anything financial, you need to sit down together. You need to do it together. You need to talk to each other as a team and plan. You can't just be one person plans and that's that. I take care of all the budgeting and bill paying in our house, like the logistics of it. My husband brings in the money. It's my job to, like, you know, disperse it. So he brings home the bacon, and it's my job to make sure that bacon spreads really nicely throughout everything that needs to be spread out. Okay? That's my job to make it last. So we work together. You know, I come up with the budget, but he comes and sits down with me and looks at it. I talk to him. What do you think you need? Is this amount work okay for you? Yeah, it does. Okay, what do you have coming up at work? This and this and this. Okay, is there anything coming up that I need to know about? No. Okay, what, you know, we talk about it, and I might be the one that sits down and types it all out and everything, but we have a conversation together before I do any of that. So that is that. I'm gonna go because this is probably a really long video, and if you stayed with me the whole time, then awesome. I'm going to try to remember to link some people below that I take inspiration from. Dave Ramsey, Rachel Cruz, off the top of my head, those are two big names you can look at. Some other people, obviously Dead is Dumb. If you're into finances and you're on YouTube, you probably already know about them. His and Her Money, fabulous. Not only that, but the girls that I always talk about, Jamie from The Not So Ordinary Wife, Amanda from It's Amanda's Life, Amy from OCD Much. They all hit on topics of finances here and there. And in fact, Amanda, they're a family of 6. They're homeowners and they're big Disney people, which we love because we love Disney too. I found her years ago off of a budgeting video. And so she will occasionally put up financial videos too here and there. So, yeah, I like all those people. Lincoln, sit down, please. We don't stand up on the couch. Sit on your butt. So, I'll try to remember to link those people below. If I forget, though, I've just mentioned them. So, go search them. But, yeah, so that's that. If you guys have financial people you like to watch and listen to, let me know. If you have tips, let me know. If you agree, great. If you disagree with me, then that's fine, too. I don't care. Whatever. Anyways, so that's that. And I will see you guys later. Bye.